Hi everyone, Nicholas Robb here with Transportation Talks, your host, and today I am with Marcus Moore, who is the Transportation Demand Management Liaison for Fairfax County Commuter Services. So we're going to chat with you, Marcus, a little bit today about what your program does and some of the services that you guys provide. So I'll kind of let you reintroduce yourself there and a little bit more about yourself.
Absolutely. My name is Marcus Moore again. I'm the Transportation Demand Management Liaison for the Fairfax County Department of Transportation. I've been with the department for a little bit over, coming up on 19 years now. All of those years I've been involved in transportation demand management, working with the businesses to implement TDM programs. Mm-hmm. So excited to be here.
Awesome. So I guess we can start off with some of the key goals and objectives of Fairfax County Commuter Services in promoting sustainable transportation.
Well, pretty much our program is funded by the state, and I think mainly our program is based on identifying businesses in the area and providing a support to them to pretty much implement transportation programs to help their staff get to work. So in doing so, we work on programs such as telework, transit subsidies, carpool, vanpool, as well as transit service, and we're putting people on the bus and the rail. So we come up with creative strategies to kind of get people to work a little bit easier, but in that we're working with their employer site. We do an assessment of their location, and we help them identify services and infrastructure in the area that helps them to commute a little bit easier in Fairfax County.
Okay, so what are some of the employers you all have worked with?
A number of them. So we, some of the ones that I can think of right off the top of my head. Some of the pretty larger ones that we work with. We work with MITRE. We work with Freddie Mac. We've also done some work with military, so we work with the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. Okay. So that's one of the larger facilities in Fairfax County where we work with. We were also a part of the military realignment. It was the BRAC project that took place a number of years back, where there was a number of different military installations that relocated to Fairfax. So we helped them to better understand how to navigate commuting in Fairfax and help during that transition. So we have a large clientele list, as well as all the way down to smaller companies that we work with as well.
Okay, that's my next question was going to be, I guess, like what size, any size company?
Large range. Yeah. Large range. So we work with larger companies that have, obviously there's more bang for your buck because there's more traffic going into those facilities, but we do work with smaller companies as well, all the way down to, staff of 10. So there's really no particular way that we go about it, but I mean, obviously we do focus on some of the larger ones just purely for the bang for the buck. Gotcha. Because there's more potential to, let's say, match people for ride sharing opportunities if we go to a facility that has thousands of people that work there. So but we cater our program and our approach to each situation that we encounter, so that we can kind of navigate what makes the most sense for that site.
Gotcha. So do you have a specific employer or project that you've worked on in mind that's kind of like a big success story?
I would say not necessarily a employer, but I would say one of the largest ones that we've done that I think we've had the most success because it encountered a number of different strategies was the Tysons area during 2014 or so. Obviously they were dealing with the opening of the Silver Line. Yeah. So I think that presented a new potential infrastructure by rail being put in that area, and all the supporting transit service that supported that rail opening. We got the opportunity to work with a lot of businesses in the Tyson areas to kind of bring them up to speed with how the opening of the Silver Line would open more doors to them to recruit people from different areas that couldn't get to Tyson's, in that way from, not having that service in place, but also it just kind of enhanced the excitement about transit in general. So it opened up different meetings and opportunities for us to come in and talk to people that we had been trying to reach out to for years, but allowed us to kind of come in and say, hey, the Silver Line is new here. We're, you guys are excited about it. And we actually created a transit incentive during that time frame. It's where we partnered with WMATA, and we created what is called the Smart Benefits Plus 50 transit incentive, which is where we preload Smart Trip cards with a $50 incentive budget that we actually cover, and then for every employer that we work with to put in place a transit benefit account, we come in and we provide the $50 incentives as a means for individuals that are currently driving to work, for them to try the service, see how they can ride the bus or the rail to get to work. See, kind of give them a tester to see how they feel about
that's
it.
That's a nice incentive.
And then from that point, the hope is that they will, kind of incorporate, using transit as their mode of daily commuting, whether it be for 5 days a week or for 1 or 2 days, depending on what their situation allows. So that was a really exciting one.
Has it been like a resurgence with the extension of the Silver Line, especially with that program too within the Tysons Reston area?
A resurgence from
I guess a growth of the Plus 50 program.
Absolutely, yeah. I say from if my mind kind of goes to the number of different businesses that we've implemented that strategy. I think we've done about maybe 48 companies that previously didn't have transit subsidies from 2014 until now. So that's a 10-year period. Yeah. And these are companies, again, that didn't have transit benefits, where we were able to go in with that Smart Benefits Plus 50 account and set up those pre-tax. A lot of those were pre-tax, but we were able to kind of go in and set up those transit benefits accounts. But I think the creative thing about that I think we had to express to people is that while we were given the $50 incentive to get people to try transit, which is obviously bus or rail, that was what the incentive was tied to. But what took place is that for every company that put in a transit benefit account, it also opened the door for those people that were interested in van pooling, which the incentive was not tied to. But once the benefit was in place, those people could take advantage of the IRS allowable limits.
Gotcha,
and they were able to use that for formation of van pools as well. So
then that's been 10 years since that program started. So and you mentioned you've been here for 18 years or so? So like how have you seen the whole transportation sector within Fairfax County grow over that time period?
It's grown a great deal. Again, I've been here since about 2005 or so. I would say the most thing that stands out to me is just the knowledge of the services. So I think we've done a great job of getting our brand out there. We've done a great job of getting the understanding of what we do and how we can help to partner with both the employer base as well as the commuters out there to let them know that our services are available. We have a free service that we provide. So that I think that makes it a little bit more easier for people to engage with us with the understanding that we're not in profit, so we do this for the sake of just offering a service to those commuters out there, to those businesses out there to kind of be a subject matter expert for that particular line of field. One of the key things that we do speak to employers about is when you think about recruiting and retention, that's one of the big things that is, a major concern for employers. Yeah. So we consider our programs as a secondary benefit. So from a business perspective, you look at your salary, obviously is the thing that you use when you're recruiting. Then you have your medical, your dental benefits. But for our area, we're unfortunately in an area where we're top 10 in traffic in the nation. So for this area, we consider transportation benefits something of importance for those people that are out looking for some of the best staff. Yeah. So we tell them to think about this when you're looking at one of the things that we do when we're recruiting or we're pursuing clientele is we look at their benefits page to see if they're telling different people that, hey, we have a telework program.
Do you see a lot of employers, I guess, that don't include that as a benefit?
Not as many as you would
think to include that.
Not as many as you would think, and I think it's kind of good from our standpoint because we can go in and explain why that should be listed there.
Because definitely, yeah.
If you think about it, if you're somebody that I'm trying to recruit from my business, and let's say you have a deal on the table, and I say, hey, Nicholas, I'm going to pay you X amount of dollars, and we have medical here. This is what our benefits package look like. And let's say you have a similar deal from a competing agency, and they're going to pay you something similar. Now you have to think, okay, what balances the scale for me to make this choice? So we'll tell employers, hey, in addition to everything else that you offer, if you can express that, hey, you have telework and there's a work-life balance that you offer in your transportation programs where you have transit benefits that'll help people get to work, it kind of sways the deal a little bit.
Free plus $50 card.
Absolutely.
Like, hey, you come work here, you can get a free $50 Smart Trip card to try taking transit and stuff. So like what other what other programs do you all offer aside from the free $50 Smart Trip card?
So again, we have the standard TDM programs that are pretty much existing everywhere. So you have, we assist and we inform different companies on how to implement telework programs. We have contacts and clientele that we work with that assist with van pool formation programs, which is usually for the longer distance travel. So we have a lot of people that work in Fairfax to come for like your West Virginias or some of your more distance travel in their commute. But then we also have within our program, we have a regional ride matching program that is actually housed under the Metropolitan Washington Council of Government. So it runs under the brand Community Connections. And that program is essentially a pairing service where an individual can sign up for that ride matching program, and it will take your commute into consideration, and it will match you with people that are taking a similar commute. And from that point, you receive a match list, and it may have, depending on what your match criteria ends up populating, but it'll give you a list of people that's taking a similar commute that either work where you work and reside where you reside, and then you can contact those people and say, hey, I'm looking for a carpool match, or and that, that's a free service that we offer as well. And then in addition to that, once we work with the different employers to kind of implement different TDM strategies, as we add to those programs, let's say we start them off with a telework, and then they add a transit subsidy, and then we come in and say, hey, based on our conversations with your staff, you have a lot of individuals that work at your site that is interested in biking, so we'll give them information on biking paths in the area.
So you kind of tailor it to each employer. So it's kind of like, okay, you're near metro station, for example, so that's something you might want to take advantage with, like the plus $50 card, or you're nowhere near a metro station, so maybe the carpool van pool option is probably better suited for you.
Right.
You could kind of tailor it that way.
Everything we do is tailored to that site, because obviously if we're near a location that doesn't have a metro, we're not going to be out there talking about, hey, you should get people on the train. So we kind of look at the scenario, and we do what makes the most sense for them, and additionally to that, what makes the most sense for the company and what they're interested in doing, because obviously their feedback is important, because they know their issues, and they know the things that the challenges that they face far more than we do. So we have those early stage conversations to figure out, like, hey, these are the options that are available to you. What do you think best fits your needs? And then from there, we kind of give them the best route to kind of go forward to. And obviously we have case studies and different similar scenarios that we can kind of compare to say, hey, this has worked here. Let's, if there's interest, we can give this program a shot here. And then what we ended up doing is, back in 2010, we created a partnership with the Center for Urban Transportation Research down in South Florida. And we created what's called the regional, our local branch, of course, in Fairfax, but we created a awards recognition called the Best Workplaces for Commuters program. And what we do in that is, for those companies that have excelled in implementing TDM programs and have reached high level implementation status, we recognize them in front of the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors on an annual basis. So surprisingly enough, as we record this here, we're coming up on a successful year where we're reaching our milestone year. We're coming up on 150 awardees. And
you only been doing that for 10 years?
No, this has been taken. This actually, we're coming up on our 14th year. We started in 2010
so
for this award.
150 employers.
Yeah, we've had an average of about 10 employees per year. Some years we've exceeded that, but yeah, and that's just pretty much a thank you to the different businesses for working with us for.
So what do they get with that? They go in front of the Board of Supervisors, like, for recognition?
Absolutely. So there's a local recognition portion where we bring them in front of the Fairfax County Board. We present them with their award. We thank them for all the different things that they do in reducing congestion in our area. And then secondarily, as a part of that membership, we cover membership dues under the Center for Urban Transportation Research. So that is the...
so it's a membership.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we pay for their membership for 2 years. And in that, they get a number of different benefits. So they get access to a transportation clientele that's also throughout the country. Yeah, so there's a help desk component. There's a internal national recognition awards that comes with that. There's a national list that's announced every year by the Center for Urban Transportation Research that kind of does the same thing that we do on a local level. They announce their list and recognize those companies that have reached that high-level TDM package.
So not only, I guess, you guys help them implement these alternative commuting options to help recruit, but then they also, if they, I guess, meet their criteria for this award, then they can also use that as like kind of a recruiting tool as well.
Absolutely.
And then you said that's national, so like everyone's going to see that recognition.
And it's kind of along the same lines, but on the transportation side of things, of what you've seen for like the top 100 best places to work. So they have their own criteria, but ours is more transportation focused. So, but again, for our area, with traffic being such a challenge, I think that is important for the workforce that lives in our area, that people want to know about that work-life balance where, how can I get to work? Does my company care about how I get to work? So I think we stress to them how beneficial that is to have those programs in place when you're competing against, your peers. So
it seems like post-COVID too, a lot more people are, kind of filtering back in the office in some capacity.
Yeah, I've said it a number of times. As unfortunate as the COVID pandemic was, I think one of the positive things that I can take from it, from our line of work, is that after the pandemic, people have a very different approach and a different opinion of what telework is. I think again, back in 2005, in the early years when I started, I would go in and I would talk to businesses about telework, and they would almost kick me out of the room.
Oh,
I'm
geez.
like, don't talk about that.
Really?
We need people to be here. We need to see them doing work.
So
And
it kind of forced the hand on.
It forced their hand.
How to try it.
Because they had to figure out how to be productive and keep business running during the pandemic. So it was something that was forced upon them. Luckily, there were some companies that had a bit of an advantage because they were already open to it. Yeah. So they kind of knew, at least on the grassroots level, what could work. I mean, of course, they had to kind of then adapt that to their whole entire workforce in most cases. But I mean, I think, again, I keep that's one of the positive things. But I think what I used to always explain to people even back then was that it's not so much as impossible to measure with your staff and how productive they are just because they're not in front of you. There's different ways you can implement different methods to kind of track the productivity of a staff member, as long as their work is being submitted, they're attending meetings on time, and you're able to access them when you need them.
Yeah.
I mean, who's to say that you can't be as productive versus having somebody sitting at their office, and just because you walk by the office, they're
Doesn't
sitting
mean,
there.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes people sit at their desk, not always working. So, so I think the pandemic kind of, forced people to re-look at telework, and I think the conversation has significantly changed since then.
Nice. So, yeah, I'm guessing. So you've mentioned employers. Do you all work with just, I guess, general commuters as well, or residents in Fairfax County?
Yes, so we also secondarily have a residential component to our program as well, where obviously the programs are not as beneficial to the residential side, like for example teleworking, but we do promote like our local transit and rail service. We do promote carpooling and van pool. We do promote ride matching at the residential level as well, and that one is just the way we look at it is kind of like a top down, bottom up approach. So we catch people at the beginning of their commute at their home, and then we also catch them at the end of the commute at their workplace and their destination. So those two kind of programs kind of work in tandem to kind of give people as much information as we possibly can about how to get from point A to point B.
So if I'm like an HR rep looking to kind of find new incentives to hire people, right, I can reach out to you. You guys can help. But if I'm also just a general commuter, you'll work with me too to find like new ways to get to work.
Yeah. So on the individual level, we actually work with people one-on-one, and we say, hey, like, okay, where are you coming from? And we help them to get an itinerary based on some of the regional services that are out there. There's like a metro trip planner that can be used where you can plug in what time you need to arrive at work, the address you're leaving from, the address you're going to, and it'll give you any available transit service between those 2 points. And then depending on, and it's almost the same as the employer side, depending on your interests, or what are your motivations? Are you interested in cost savings? So hey, we can put you on the van pool. Or are you interested in, hey, I want to be able to just do something that's convenient. I want to ride the bus so that while I'm on the bus, I can, pull out my laptop and start working a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Or, do I want to, ride with others or not? So I think we have those similar conversations on the individual level that we do on the business level, and figure out what the needs are. And then we tailor fit, our suggestions to them based on that.
Nice. Yeah, I don't think I kind of covered a lot. I don't know. Is there anything else that you could think of that I...
Yeah, so actually,
touched on
one thing that we haven't really spoken to, and this is fairly new to our program, Fairfax County Commuter Services, but we've recently incorporated not necessarily a new, but another component to our TDM program, which is now where we oversee the Fairfax County proffers. Oh, yeah. So for all the different residential and development proffers that are in place in the county, when different buildings are being constructed, or if there's different buyers that are coming in and occupying land, there's certain proffers that are in place that designate the TDM measures that are in place. So let's say, for example, they might have to have a shuttle to the metro station, or they may have to do a transportation survey, on an annual basis, or there's a number of different strategies that fall into that. But this is something that we've recently incorporated within the last maybe year and a half.
So you all work with them to help get their proffers met, basically.
Absolutely,
okay.
Yeah.
So you guys are coming at it from the residential side, the commuter side, the employer side. So regardless of who you are in the county, if you're interested in trying to find new ways to get to work and stuff, you guys work with them.
Correct. Yeah. So we're really excited about our program. We're doing different things that we can to kind of get our branding out there. So we're starting to post heavily on LinkedIn. We're starting to get a lot of our messaging out on social media. And then obviously you have our website that you can access a lot of our different programs and learn about, particular programs of your interest. So we're just trying to, pretty much let people know that we're here, we're available to help them out, kind of cater to the needs of the public, and just kind of service as many individuals as we can to help people get from point A to point B.
So if I'm an employer or a resident, like how do I go about reaching out to you guys?
So the first thing you can do is we have our county program internal line. You can reach us at 703-877-5900. And this is, again, for Fairfax County Commuter Services. And then secondarily, you can reach us on our website, www.fairfaxcounty.gov/transportation/commuter-services. And then we also have our program email, which is dotcommuterservices@fairfaxcounty.gov.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, awesome. Well, thank you for coming on and chatting with me today.
Absolutely.
So yeah, if there's anyone who's a resident, employer, or implementing your proffers, site development, definitely reach out to Fairfax County Commuter Services to help find alternative ways of commuting. So thank you all for joining us this month, and we'll see you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you.